It's like, who's derailing? And the very same people that say whataboutism literally fucking derailed the conversation back to Crimea for some fucking reason, which is absolutely bananas to consider. Like, all right, let's finish the rest of this. The U.S. could immediately end all support for Saudi Arabia, make it a pariah, as Biden promised. The U.S. systemic failure and accept responsibility for its own crimes. Undermines the credibility of the condemnations of Russia, particularly in the eyes of anyone who knows the history of NATO and U.S. militarism. It's a gift to Putin's cause. There is no contradiction between standing with the people of Ukraine and against Russia's heinous invasion and being honest about the hypocrisy of war crimes and militarism of the U.S. and NATO. I agree. We already watched the Vice video on life inside of Crimea, by the way. It begins with a Kievan Rus. Okay, I don't care about this. I'm not going to watch this. I'm sorry. I'm not going to read that fucking Twitter thread. Talked about these numbers. As oil source, OPEC and its allies decline to offer relief. Yeah, no shit. Because once again, and remember, this is the most important factor here. Money is more important. Okay? Money is the main point here. It's always and forever the main issue at hand. OPEC is not going to give up its cartel status on energy and fuck over Russia in an effort to make it easier for America to shut off Russia from the rest of the global economy when Russia itself is a major fucking supplier of energy. The oil cartel known as OPEC Plus said it would continue the strategy agreed to in July, rubber stamping a 400,000 barrel a day production increase for April. They want OPEC to produce more so they can alleviate the tensions, they can alleviate the financial consequences that everyone in the Western world would face from completely sanctioning off the rest of the Russian economy. But of course, they're not going to do that because it's not in their material benefit. They would rather maintain their global power as OPEC Plus instead of kick aside their trade partner, or rather a part of their cartel, and then compromise their bottom line down the line. In a statement that had surreal qualities given the surging prices in recent weeks, the group, which includes Russia, said current fundamentals and the outlook for their future pointed to a well-balanced market. It blamed volatility on geopolitical developments. In other words, Russia's onslaught in Ukraine. Some analysts were not impressed. Such an argument will increasingly strain credulity. Helen McCroft, an analyst at RBC Capital Markets and Investment Bank, wrote in a note to clients. Left unmentioned is the statement was that the fact that Russia's Deputy Prime Minister, Alexander Novak, is a co-chair of OPEC Plus. There is one area where, the Russians are not seeing the fucking, the pain. The pain of sanctions. Okay? And that area is this, which is the most important area. 50% of Russia's fucking entire economy, entire revenue comes from this. The cartel said it would continue a strategy agreed to in July, rubber stamping a modest 400,000 barrel a day production, which was ramped up already, increase in April. An increase of this size is widely considered by analysts insufficient to cool down prices. It's insufficient to cool down prices because it is not a substitute for, it doesn't get ahead of, it doesn't account for a potential sanction on Russia, okay? A potential sanction on Russian oil production. Apparently, they are seeing pain in the area of oil. Russian oil is being rejected. Now it is. It might be no buyers. Surgut Neftegas, the Russian oil producer, fails for the third consecutive time to sell Ural's crude via regular tender. I cannot recall ever a situation like this. There are not buyers for Russian oil, even at record discounts. How does this square with the observations of tankers continuously transporting Russian oil in the Baltic? A moment ago, 4 crude oil and 1 LNG tankers coming from Venaja in front of Helsinki in the Gulf of Finland alone. Ports of destination in EU and USA. Gross price of oil cargoes and current exchange rate is 240 million USD, and on with this criminal Putin finances the war. These are the current contracts that are being fulfilled. Exactly. The U.S. should sanction Russian oil and deal with the fallout. On this, we agree. If the U.S. is serious about its ambitions to shut down Russia, then they should do that. But they won't do it. Maybe they will in the future, but thus far they haven't. The problem is, and this goes back to, oh my God. The problem is, and this absolutely goes back to what I said already about the sanctions and its consequences on a civilian population that have nothing to do and nothing to say about that have no say in what Russia ends up doing. Okay. Asia is a place of barbarism and violence of the West because the West goes there to commit barbarism and violence. Russia's turn to its Asian past. As nostalgia surges for the Eastern conquest of Genghis Khan, Putin maps out his own empire. What is that article? Dude, Western media has to do white supremacist and Orientalist fucking takes. Okay? They have to. There is no other way. The U.S. agenda in Russia is never just about Russia. Russia itself has a complicated history. It's also a territorial giant that spans the entire east-west axis of what's considered Asia. Encircling China and Russia go hand in hand because it's talking about the whole continent. The Wall Street Journal editorial board famously, 1, aligned with Jair Bolsonaro, and 2, with Pinochet. So their takes on foreign policy have always been like this. Image headline is from 2018. I mean, not surprising. Washington. Representative Van Taylor apologized Wednesday for an affair with an ex-jihadist dubbed the ISIS bride by British tabloids and abruptly dropped his bid for a third term, conceding the GOP runoff rival to Keith Self, a former Collin County judge. What the fuck? What? What the fuck? What is this fucking... What the fuck? What is this story, bro? What is going on, dude? Representative Van Taylor apologized Wednesday for an affair with an ex-jihadist dubbed the ISIS bride by British tabloids and abruptly dropped his bid for a third term, conceding the GOP runoff to rival Keith Self, a former Collin County judge. About a year ago, I made a horrible mistake that has caused deep hurt and pain among those I love most in this world. I had an affair. It was wrong, and it was the greatest failure of my life. The infidelity surfaced just before Tuesday's primary with the help from a third candidate, Suzanne Harp. Okay, hold on. Okay. Have you ever felt like you see a jihadi bride and dubbed the ISIS bride, and you decide to risk it all on an affair that you're about to have with her? Make sure that your political campaign in Texas Plano is going to end in an abysmal, fiery death and destruction. That's exactly how it feels to drive in a Ford F-150 pickup truck. Oh, Jesus Christ, dude. The only way Representative Van Taylor can ever feel the same satisfaction of driving a Ford F-150 pickup truck is when he's clapping the cheeks of the ex-ISIS member jihadi dubbed the ISIS bride. What happened, bro? You couldn't get laid anywhere else, dude? What the fuck? The ISIS bride is now an evangelist Christian who believes in settling Israel. Oh, I love that. That's so awesome. That's fucking great, dude. That makes the story even better. Look, I get it. Oh, come. Sometimes you gotta risk it all and throw everything you know and your political future down the toilet when you want to get that feeling of riding a Ford F-150 pickup truck. Okay. Mid-ass ISIS bride, you're crazy. I mean, he fixed her, by the way. People say I can fix her, but like he did. She's now an evangelical. She's now an evangelical Christian. So more like a Toyota Tacoma bride. Former First Lady of ISIS now loves Reform Jews, plans to visit Jerusalem. Yeah, you guys don't believe in de-radicalization. You babies, okay? You just don't get it. You just don't understand it. This has a Texas City Center. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Texas GOP primary candidate. No. My official statement on Van Taylor's alleged affair with an ISIS bride. The evidence appears to be overwhelming, Harp added. This situation could be a liability to our party, our district, and most importantly, our country. Taylor is married with 3 children, was elected to the Congress in 2019 as a Republican. Joya told Breitbart the news affair began in 2020. He considered me his girlfriend. He labeled me his girlfriend, his mistress, Tanya told Breitbart News. I told him I found him attractive. After that an entire month, every day during October 2020, he wouldn't stop messaging me like crazy. It was so distracting. He was going crazy for it. He wanted me to be his loyal, faithful, and permanent mistress. In the text message between Joya and Taylor, the Breitbart review, the congressman solicited a long, slow rim job and deep throat sexual acts while I stroke my cock and I come on your tonsils. If you ever wanted to feel what it's like to get deep-throated while you stroke your cock and come on the tonsils of a woman that previously used to be married to an ISIS radical, that's exactly what it feels like to drive a Ford F-150 pickup truck. Finally, a man who understands truly what it means to be down bad. Down abysmal. Cataclysmic. Catastrophic. A man who is truly willing to risk it all. Okay. Bro, dude, Republicans are crazy, dude. They're fucking insane. Okay? I regret linking you this song. Oh no, this is the greatest thing, dude. It's the greatest thing that happened. He said, oh, Jesus Christ, so dirty, dude. Ooh, what a potty mouth he has, dude. Look at him. Joya is originally from the UK but moved to Syria in 2013 after she met John Thomas Gergolas, an American-born convert to Islam, jihadist, and a supporter of the Islamic State. After being treated badly by Gergolas, she fled and worked with American authorities so we could drone him. She said, oh my God. Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. Jesus Christ. Okay. She literally is like, fuck this guy. Oh, Jesus Christ, dude. That's awesome. What an incredible. Republicans be like, gays are ruining the traditional family values, then not 10 minutes later talking about come on your tonsils. Yeah. While being married, by the way. He's gonna drone strike her tonsils. Stop. Her ex-husband. The regular teenage life of an American who became a jihadist, how Greek Orthodox altar server and military brat John Gergolas loved video games, Bob Marley, and pacifism before leaving his religion, family, and country to join ISIS in Syria. Dude, these people are just Jesus Christ. She asked if she could press the button? Stop. That's not real. Oh my God, Jordan Peterson is right, dude. The Dragon of Chaos. There are women out there who will take men and make them believe in Shaitan, make them do cunning things. And then those women will go and work with the enemy, the imperialist nation. All men want to do is restore the Islamic Caliphate and honor Allah and do jihad. But then women come into the equation. The Shaitan, the Dragon of Chaos. Oh God, this is a beautiful story. What a fucking story, dude. Yeah, Jordan Peterson was right. Wahhabi Peterson is, by the way, that's a real thing. Fun fact, many might not know this, but like a lot of Jordan Peterson's speeches have actually been translated and gets a fuckload of play in the MENA region by some of the most fundamentalist motherfuckers. They love him. They literally love him. I wonder why. Yeah, straight up. Yeah, conservatives all around the world love Jordan Peterson. I wonder why. One of my Pakistani friends, a huge JP guy, loves Elon Musk and crypto too, of course. That all comes in. That all comes along with one another. Okay, so we already know OPEC Plus is not going to fucking to increase production, ramp up production, especially to like especially to cut Russia and its power in the international sanctions that Russia is currently facing. No, dude, people who love JP here are Marabous. They aren't fundamentalists at all. What the fuck? No, there's like hella fucking... There are definitely fucking super fundamentalist motherfuckers who love JP as well. I mean, his takes on women in the workplace are, you know, not that far off from what like some fucking dudes who love and would want to institute Sharia law in predominantly Muslim countries would want. Ukraine has established an emergency hotline for foreign students wishing to leave Ukraine because of Russia's armed aggression. They can now call Viber or Telegram on this number. Ukrainian border guards are doing everything possible to speed up the passage of all citizens from Ukraine at the border. All checkpoints on the western border are open 24 hours a day. The first come, first serve approach applied to all nationalities. Well, I mean, not really. It wasn't a thing, but now I guess they are going to do that. All people at the border are asked to comply with law and order and act responsibly. This will allow to speed up the border crossing process. We ask that those crossings show mutual respect and understanding to everyone at the border during this extremely difficult time. Ukraine's calls on all foreign governments to demand from President Putin that he immediately stop his war in Ukraine. Fox just released another Russia-Ukraine explainer.
Correspondent, that's John Dickerson, and CBS.
Oh, we were going to do Caspian. We were going to look at Caspian Report.
The unthinkable has happened.
Actually, fuck the State of the Union thing, but I was going to look at the Caspian Report new video. The unthinkable has happened. Russia's invaded Ukraine. What will happen? What the global consequences of said invasion will look like. What will the global consequences be at the top of the hour when there's a 60-second ad break? For those who no longer want to see those ads, well, the global consequence is going to be a Twitch Prime subscription or a $5 subscription. Or if you're lucky, you could get gifted a sub too. That's another way. But here's the 1 minute ad break regardless.
Hostilities have broken out between Ukraine and Russia, and the stakes are global. The Russian invasion is Europe's biggest war since the 1940s, and the first toppling since then of a democratically elected government by a foreign invader. An assessment by US intelligence estimates that a full-blown conflict, prolonged over a lengthy period of time and covering all of Ukrainian territory, could lead to as many as 50,000 civilian casualties.
I'll be back.
Refugees, possibly in the millions, would move in multiple directions. Europe would start arming itself to the teeth, China would see an opening to take over Taiwan by force, and Iran would shift the nuclear talks in its favor. Likewise, prolonged conflict in Ukraine would affect global markets, like energy prices, raw materials, commodities, etc. Russia and Ukraine account for a remarkable 29% of the worldwide supply of wheat. Prolonged conflict in this breadbasket would have ripple effects across the world. So, now that the Kremlin has let slip the dogs of war, let's quantify the military, economic, and political consequences. Today's video is sponsored by Masterworks. Now, we chose to work with Masterworks in this video because unlike most investment platforms, Masterworks has nothing to do with the stock market, real estate, or cryptocurrency. Masterworks is all about fine art. Masterworks related to it. War is a racket. It begins when governments believe the price of hostility is affordable. Russia's supreme objective in Ukraine is to disconnect the country from the West, a goal that could take many forms, like regime change, federalization, partitioning, or even a negotiated surrender. Should Russia win and gain control over Ukraine, and the jury is still out on that, but should it win and stabilize the country on a large scale, the geopolitical calculus would change completely. It wouldn't be like it was before. Europe would have to rethink its security arrangements. New doctrines would be crafted that restrict collective security to the core members of the EU and NATO. Anyone caught outside the club would be on their own. Finland and Sweden would have authentic reasons to join NATO, and public opinions may yet steer them into the arms of NATO. But aside these two nations, both the EU and NATO would likely halt their expansion programs for new members. Europe would look to bolster the defense of its members, but not beyond. Meanwhile, Russian sway over Ukraine and by extension Belarus would be seen by the neighborhood as a security hazard. A vast front line of insecurity, call it the new Iron Curtain, would extend from Estonia to Poland to Romania to Turkey. This image by flight radar shows that frontier in the making. This is what it looks like when the global order undergoes change. Of course, Europe would reject the new Russian-backed government in Kiev, but it would be a situation reminiscing Belarus. The Europeans wouldn't know what to do about a pro-Russian government in Ukraine. Yet ironically, by attacking Ukraine, Russia has gifted NATO a new means of existence. The United States will play an indispensable role in that transition, so much so that Washington may yet pivot to Europe again. Strengthening NATO would be the means to provide security reassurances to Europe and deter Russia from encroachment. NATO would return to its roots, no more democracy building or nation building, but a straightforward military alliance that it was meant to be. However, while Washington and Moscow come to see each other as bitter enemies, hostilities can only be taken to a certain threshold. As two formidable nuclear powers, the Kremlin and the White House would have to keep their outrage in check. So, rather than a kinetic exchange, a permanent economic war of attrition would be the most defining consequence. Sanctions would harm Russia, but the Kremlin could survive the immediate economic fallout. The Russian central bank has about 600.
Wouldn't it be possible for the USA to deploy troops to defend Ukraine without the threat of a nuclear war? It's not like we're threatening to take over Russian territory. What? Okay. If Russia had supreme military power, do you think their military would fucking attack America without America saying we're going to nuke you? Like, you think people think that there's like a PvP unlocked zone, you know what I mean? Like, why don't the Russian military and American military go to a PvP only zone and duke it out? You know? It's fair. It's fair to do it that way. Kind of fucked up that they won't do it that way. You know?
$143 billion in reserves, enough to withstand the sanctions thrown at Russia. That
even their PvP only zone was fucking Syria, and even in that circumstance, there were some really heated moments, but it mostly turned into a proxy war. Again, of factions being trained by the American government, fighting in certain instances against the Russian forces, but never directly.
That said, about 40% of the reserves are held in euros and 5% in British pound. These quantities can still be targeted by sanctions. That's almost half the Russian reserves. So sanctions on the central bank would diminish Russia's strength to stave off economic collapse. In the long run, however, China could serve as an economic substitute for the West. Russia's trade with the European Union accounted for nearly $220 billion in 2021, while bilateral trade with China accounted for $146 billion. But even though the European market is roughly 1.5 times the size of Russian-Chinese trade, the latter has grown substantially in recent years. For comparison, while in 2003, trade with China made up $16 billion, by 2021 it had grown to $146 billion. If bilateral trade continues at a pace, China could replace the West as an economic substitute. But whether the Russian reserves have enough funding to bridge the gap depends on the severity of the sanctions. Now, Europe, at tremendous cost to itself, could decide to reduce energy imports from Russia, which would
War in Ukraine has global consequences by the Caspian report, which is currently number 14 on trending.
cut deep into the Russian skin. Energy revenues account for almost 40% of the Russian budget revenues. So, this is income that wouldn't be readily replaceable. Increasing natural gas
Gnome Chomsky's pretty funny. Do we know this guy's political and geographic bias? Seems smart, but I don't know. He's fascist or something. Just an immediate self-report. Like, this guy seems to have an accent, so I'm not going to be able to make up my mind about the information that he's presenting and need to know what his, like, and immediately assume that he's, like, probably a fascist or something. He's Azerbaijani, okay? He's Azeri. So, yeah. With that information, what you will, okay? Are you happy?
exports to China is an option, but that would require constructing and expanding infrastructure from the Siberian deposits to the Chinese heartland. Building such a vast network of pipelines would cost tens of billions of dollars. Moreover, it wouldn't be as profitable as the European market, since the Chinese wouldn't be paying premium price as the Europeans do. Beyond trade and energy, the Americans and the Europeans could introduce the mother of all sanctions, cutting off Russia from the SWIFT payment system. Some banks have already been cut, but not all. There are some EU member states that want to keep loopholes in place while claiming credit for standing up to Russia. For context, SWIFT is a global transfer system used by banks and financial institutions to send and receive money transfer instructions. It's a system that's quick, accurate, and secure. There are more than 11,000 SWIFT member institutions that make more than 35 million daily transactions. All of this, the entire SWIFT network, is regulated by the power of the dollar. Using SWIFT for political means could undermine its reliability and motivate other nations to create alternatives. China has its own international payment system in place. Now Russia could integrate into that alternative, but it wouldn't be the same. SWIFT sanctions, without loopholes, would suffocate businesses in Russia. In response to such drastic measures, Russia could raise its hybrid war in Europe. Cyber attacks and political lobbying could become the norm. Much of this is already happening, but a sustained conflict in Ukraine would ante up the stakes. Moscow would indirectly and directly encourage pro-Russian candidates or political movements. By doing so, by playing into the self-interest of nations, Russia would try to get one or more European states to back away from the economic war of attrition and thereby undermine consensus in Europe. For instance, a prolonged war in Ukraine could result in millions of refugees moving in multiple directions. Russia could exploit that crisis by worsening the debate on refugee policy and by encouraging populist movements across the continent. This is just one of the many narratives we could see play out over the years.
Never happened before. That'd be crazy.
Do you remember how during
To
the
be fair, like the difference there, white supremacy does play a role in that conversation, where I don't think that like populist countries are gonna. I mean, I guess they've done it to Polish people in the UK, so I guess they would do it. They're Slavs still, so you can see different kind of racism in like these kind of countries. I mean, Brexit had a lot of influence. Like a lot of the influence, a lot of the decisions influencing Brexit and people's advocacy for Brexit was the Polish taking their jobs. UK loves the Polish. That's bullshit. Yeah, I totally made that fact up. It's not like backed by any data or anything. Yeah. Totally.
Previous session, he was walking out of the chamber, trying to call someone, not knowing what was going on. How we can trust you? How we can trust your assurance? You have no idea what is on the mind of your president. Your words have less value than a hole in the New York pretzel.
Elsewhere in the world, a prolonged conflict in Ukraine would have geopolitical ripple effects. Seeing Russia defy the West could encourage China in its aims to subjugate Taiwan. China and Taiwan have been bracing for hostilities for decades, but recently things have entered a more dangerous phase. The one country, two systems principle has failed. Beijing is out of diplomatic options, and US military officials believe China could invade Taiwan by 2027. America is already distracted at home with various domestic topics polarizing its political landscape, but an American pivot to Europe would further split Washington's resources. China would have a real opening to take over Taiwan, and it's unlikely that Beijing would miss up on that opportunity. Meanwhile, in the Korean peninsula, Pyongyang's hand would strengthen at the negotiations.
Bro, what the fuck are they gonna do? Anytime people add Korea into the conversation, it's just like, what are they gonna? They got nothing, bro. They're literally a fucking vassal state for China. It's not even a vassal state, it's like a buffer. You're describing a not even a vassal state, but just simply a buffer state for China.
Russia shift from its current handbrake invasion to a full
Dude, you're being so ignorant right now. They're gonna throw such a fucking huge parade, dude. You have no idea.
invasion. That is to say, should it start applying the full brunt of its force, the ensuing artillery barrage would be unlike anything seen in recent memory.
I don't know. I disagree with you on the North Korea part. Yeah, because you watch too much American news.
It would paint a vivid picture of what a similar North Korean barrage on South Korea would look like. That notion, as morbid as it sounds, would shift the narrative, possibly even...
Like, North Korea has artillery positioned directly on Seoul, right? And in an immediate barrage of artillery, they could reach, I think the human casualty numbers would reach like 150,000, which is devastating. It's horrible. But part of the reason why it won't happen is because they would get glass so fucking quick. South Korea has weapons as well, but like they would literally get glassed before they could hit a button. The entire country, they would wipe out everyone in North Korea without ever even considering it, without ever even like thinking about the consequences of it. You said the same thing about Russia invading Ukraine. Russia has the military power to do a lot of damage to Ukraine, a much smaller country with a much smaller military. North Korea, on the other hand, is a nation that's been starved by sanctions since its inception.
Undermining South Korean and Japanese interests. The thing is, sometimes the idea of war can be as
like, dude, it's like comparing fucking I don't know, any number of different conquests that America has engaged in to Russia, which is what a lot of people are doing right now, and that's why they're fucking failing in their analysis. Whenever they say like, well, we did this in Kuwait, why can't we do this in Russia? It's like, bitch, Russia is a nuclear superpower, dude. What the fuck are you talking about? 150 million people. Like 11 fucking time zones. 6,000 nukes, brother. You can't fucking treat Russia like a client state that has gone awry. Okay? I just don't understand how people fail to recognize that like this shit ain't like the previous wars that America has engaged in. North Korea, on the other hand, is not even, it's like Iraq, okay?
as harmful as war itself, and a lengthy war in Ukraine would reverberate hostilities in all disputed territories. At the same time, in Iran, the nuclear talks could collapse under its own weight. Russian diplomats play a surprisingly constructive role in the negotiations with Iran, repeatedly encouraging their Iranian counterparts to partake in the talks. Should Russia have a change of heart, it could pursue the opposite and take on a disruptive attitude in the negotiations. Iran would be more confident and look to leverage its position, which would at the very least stall the negotiations if not collapse it altogether. The outcome of this would be far-reaching, especially for Israel. Prolonged conflict in Ukraine would also affect global prices of commodities, energy, raw materials, food crops, and so on. Oil is already spiking, but a lengthy conflict involving Russia would send prices upwards. Dutch-based analysts from the Rabobank believe that crude oil prices could jump from the current $90 a barrel to anywhere between $125 and $175 a barrel, depending on the severity.
Iran fucked up. Rule number 2 of nation building, and possibly even 3. The Hasanabi doctrine dictates rule number 2. Got to get nukes. And number 3, if another foreign adversary accuses you of having nukes, you immediately have to drop everything and make nukes.
Of the sanctions. The same massive surge would also be seen in natural gas prices, where Europe is especially vulnerable. About 35% of Europe's natural gas comes from Russia, so things could fall apart really fast.
Oh, rule number 1 was get nukes. Rule number 2 is don't give up the nukes. And rule number 3 is if a foreign adversary claims you have nukes, drop everything and make nukes immediately.
No effect could push across financial markets. Another important sector is raw materials. Russia is a major producer of copper, aluminium, nickel, platinum, palladium, etc. Some of these raw materials are used in chip making, so expect even more delays in the semiconductor industry. Meanwhile, a long war in the breadbasket of Europe would endanger the food security of nations across the globe. Wheat exports from Russia and Ukraine combined account for a staggering 29% of the global supply. At a time when food prices are already rising due to supply chain disruptions, a prolonged war in Ukraine would skyrocket prices. In some countries, food security would come under severe risk. All in all, the global ramifications of a sustained conflict in Ukraine are extensive. Sometimes, without much reflection, governments go blindly on their way, creating unintended consequences that push nations ceaselessly through the years, ultimately achieving nothing of value and permitting no pause for perspective. I've been your host Shirvan from Caspian Report. We will be making more reports on the situation.
Decent video. If Iran were to even say yet have nukes, surely they will get attacked. Yeah, unlike now, which Iran is doing fine and definitely not being attacked. Oh, remember when an Israeli hit squad literally murdered an Iranian nuclear scientist when he was on vacation? I remember. That was so crazy. Like the shit that we allow people to fucking do is insane. Like they literally just murdered him in front of his family, I think, if I'm not mistaken, on vacation. Oof. The video was war in Ukraine could have global consequences. What is this?